Welcome into Outkick the Show. I am your fearless leader, Clay Travis. I am coming to you live from my hotel room a little bit earlier than normal. Did not get a chance to do the show yesterday, but we've got a lot to discuss. Appreciate all of you coming and hanging out with me. I know I'm early. I'm out in LA. We are doing a lot of really cool stuff for Lock It In. My new television show, which hopefully you guys have checked out on FS1. I've been on an absolute roll with gambling. I was wanting to be able to do it yesterday, but we got so much going on that I haven't been able to get around to it. So I appreciate all of you coming and hanging out. I'm a little bit early today. I think it's, I don't know, whatever it is, around 10 a.m. On the West Coast, around noon on Central Time, 1 o'clock on the East Coast. So I'm early today because, again, I am in LA, not sure exactly what my schedule is going to be this week. May do some shows at different times, but I appreciate all of you coming in to join me here. We have got a lot to get to. I didn't do the show on Monday, so I'm just going to go ahead and run right in. My guys right now, I've got to say, my guys at sportsbookreview.com, make sure you're getting the best number. They are the presenting sponsor of Outkick the Show. They are what makes this show run. Sportsbookreview.com. Get hooked up with them today, and you will be glad that you did. All right, several different things. I'm going to hit you first with my top five, bottom five in the NFL. I'm going to run through my college football top 10, the playoff picture in general. I'm going to talk about the Titans' dominance over the Patriots and the University of Tennessee's dominance over Kentucky. I tried to tell you Wildcat fans what was coming. You wouldn't listen. You wouldn't listen at all. I'm going to talk about the Zach Smith mess and some of the challenges in terms of when you decide to cover and talk about and not talk about stories. And in a news story that should make everybody ecstatic. Game of Thrones is coming back in April. I cannot wait for it to return. It is going to be absolutely phenomenal. But let's start here with the top five, bottom five in the NFL. And I am going to begin the show, by the way, by blocking this guy. I'm going to block a guy because if I happen to look over and I see a comment, and I think to myself, is that the comment that somebody without a functional penis would make? And if it is the comment that somebody without a functional penis would make, why should I allow them to ever comment? Now, 90% of the time when I'm talking, I may not look over and see what somebody is saying. I might not look over and happen to note your comment. But if I look over and I see it, and I think to myself, my God, that is the kind of comment that somebody who is a pussy would make, then I am going to block you, and you will never be allowed to comment ever again in the show. So, just giving you a heads up, if you happen to say something that I disagree with, it's not a meritocracy, it's a Clayocracy. At any point in time, Clay Kyle can wipe you out. You have to keep your head on a swivel. Respect the topics. That's all I ask, especially when, by the way, let me say right here, I was telling you to go check out sportsbookreview.com. You know how Fade the Picks guy has basically vanished? Fade the Picks guy has vanished because we're at 59% winners on the season so far in college football. I don't know if there is anybody in all of the gambling universe who has publicly posted all of his picks and has made as many picks as I have, who has won at a higher level than 59% on the season so far. So this has been a pretty dominant year for me. Best-selling book, national bestseller. We've got the new television show debuting, killing it with the gambling picks in college football, and really just continuing to be the guy with the greatest hair in the game. All right, let's go run through. Top five, bottom five in the NFL. Saints 1, Chiefs 2, Rams 3, Chargers 4, Patriots 5. I could maybe accept an argument for the Steelers as the team that should replace the Patriots. Top five teams in the NFL right now: Saints, Chiefs, Rams, Chargers, Patriots, in that order. All right? And also, bottom five teams in the NFL right now: Jets, Cardinals, Giants, 49ers, and Raiders. That is the breakdown. All right? Bottom five team: Jets, Cardinals, Giants, 49ers, and Raiders. I want to tell you my top 10 in college football right now. Number one, Bama, no doubt. By the way, Mississippi State did dive at Tua's knee. That was a dirty, dirty play that knocked Tua out of the game. I'm surprised it hasn't gotten more attention. You watch that play in slow motion. There's a 100% chance that guy who hit him helmet to knee was going straight in and trying to take him out. Should have been a bigger story than it actually was, all right? Bills aren't forgotten in that bottom five. They just won a game 41-10, all right? That's my top five, bottom five. Number one is Bama. Number two is Clemson. Clearly a big gap between Alabama and Clemson and everybody else. Number three, I've got Notre Dame. Number four, I've got Michigan. Number five, I've got Georgia. Sixth place, I got Washington State. Seven, I've got West Virginia. Eighth place, I got Oklahoma. Ninth place, I have got Ohio State. 10th place, I've got LSU. To me, there are two major hypotheticals that could emerge as substantial issues in college football this year. I've talked about them on the radio show. I think we'll continue to talk about them because it's unlikely we're going to get any major upsets this week, okay? I think the two big decisions the committee could have. If Syracuse beats Notre Dame this weekend, which wouldn't stun me, and then Notre Dame goes on and beats USC to win and go 11-1, and Michigan wins out to go 12-1. I'm curious on you guys' responses. You guys can all jump in here and give me your opinions, all right? Jump in and give me all your opinions here. Do you take, if you were making a decision between these two teams, do you take 11-1 Michigan, okay? 11-1 Notre Dame, or 12-1 Michigan? If you had to decide between those two and both couldn't get in your mind, do you take 12-1 Michigan or do you take 11-1 Notre Dame? Remember, Notre Dame won head-to-head. Notre Dame won head-to-head, and so I think this is a tough call for the committee because if you don't take Notre Dame, what you're effectively saying is that game didn't matter. That's what you're saying. So, I mean, I can see all the different responses. I think it's a challenging situation. I don't think there's easy answers. That's difficult college football playoff hypothetical one. I think you have to respect the head-to-head. Even though I think Michigan's the better team, I don't think they're so much better that you don't respect the head-to-head. I would take 11-1 Notre Dame over 12-1 Michigan. That's me personally. Clearly, 12-0 Notre Dame's going to be in. That's one hypothetical. And obviously, reasonable minds can differ there. Here's the other difficult hypothetical. What if Alabama goes 12-0, they beat Citadel, and they beat Auburn, which I think most people would expect to happen, and then Alabama loses a close game in Georgia, in Atlanta, in the SEC title game to Georgia? Does 12-1 Alabama get in the playoff as well alongside 12-1 Georgia? Or do you bump Bama out? And here's the hypothetical. Let's assume that Clemson goes 13-0. Let's assume that Notre Dame goes 12-0. So I think both of those teams are taking spots. Georgia, I think at 12-1 with an SEC championship would get in. Do you take 12-1 Big Ten champion Michigan, or do you take 12-1 Alabama, which is the unquestioned, according to Vegas and the offshores, best team in all of college football? Give me your vote right here. Alabama 12-1 or 12-1 Michigan. Remember, Alabama head-to-head would be favored by 2 touchdowns over Michigan. I think that's a point that deserves a lot of attention here. Alabama would be a 2-touchdown favorite. My argument is you have to take Alabama because I think ultimately when you get into the college football playoff, it's about balancing two things, right? It's about balancing best and most deserving. Alabama would not be the most deserving team, but they would be the best team. So I think the fact that Alabama is a 2-touchdown favorite over Michigan, you would have to go, in my mind, with Alabama. I think that is a fantastic debate. I don't think that there is an answer. I'm going to block you lose your conference title game, you don't deserve to go guy, because it's too fucking stupid, all right? Because your argument presumes that all conference titles are even, all right? So if you are making the argument that if you lose your conference title game, you don't deserve to go, I'm going to block you. It's such a stupid argument. You don't deserve to be able to make that argument. Sometimes I think you have to wipe out stupid argument guy, all right? So my solution here, by the way, is that this could be good for college football, because the chaos scenario would be you get 12-1 Oklahoma or West Virginia, 12-1 Washington State, 12-1 Michigan, 12-1 Alabama, 12-1 Georgia, and 11-1 Notre Dame. What in the world do you do? How in the world do you make a decision there? My solution, which is the one that should be applied here, is 8 conference playoff teams, 8-team playoff. All 5 major conference champs get in. You have 2 wild cards in the event you have upsets. And also on top of that and beyond that, you also take advantage of what I think is significant. You also take advantage of potentially giving one non-Power 5 conference team a bid. Or you go with 3 wild cards. I think either one would be good. You play the first round, the quarterfinal round on campus at the higher seeded schools, all 4. And then you advance into the semifinals and the conference finals. I think it would solve the problem. But those are the 2 hypotheticals that I would say are out there right now that could turn into major issues. Notre Dame compared to Michigan if they both lost a game, and then Alabama compared to Michigan if they both lost games, if Alabama ends up losing the SEC title game. So I think that is an intriguing decision to think about. 18 playoff is the right number. You don't expand beyond there, and you are in good shape going forward. And look, everybody's going to have different opinions about this, but I think the quality of this Alabama team is such that it shouldn't really come into question whether they make the playoff, assuming they're 12-0 playing against Georgia. That is the college football playoff perspective. I don't imagine that it will change substantially this week because we don't have any major upsets, I don't think, brewing on the horizon. Maybe Oklahoma State beats West Virginia, and that clears up the Big 12 a little bit and limits the Big 12's playoff chances to Oklahoma, which will have to go on the road against West Virginia on the Friday after Thanksgiving. So all of that is in play in general. All right, I am going to have to block this guy. He says, get some sleep, man. You look shut out. I'm actually in great shape. I got tons of sleep right now. I'm feeling fantastic. I got way more sleep than I usually get with all the other things that I got going on. I'm just sitting in a hotel room and it's dark, and I don't really worry that much about what I look like. So that is the solution in general, okay? That's the solution in general. If you're worried about me, you can watch me on television later today, all right? That's how bad I'm doing. All right, Zach Smith. I think Zach Smith, all right? I think, somebody said Adolf Travis blocking people left and right. Uh-oh. Is that a reference, a comparison of me to Hitler? That guy's gone forever. Happen to look down, you compare me to Hitler, you're gone forever. That's the rules. You compare me to Hitler, and you are gone forever. All right. A couple of other different things. The Zach Smith story. I'm troubled by this. I'm troubled by this in general, okay? I am troubled by this because I don't know exactly what the solution is in general here to a story like Zach Smith. What do you do? What do you do when a guy goes way off the reservation and decides to go out and attack somebody who has done nothing wrong at all? Zach Smith is angry. I understand that he's angry because his coaching career is over. I understand that oftentimes when you put yourself in a position where you make bad choices, you want to blame everybody else. But to me, I've always tried to follow this rule. We have to have in place, in my opinion, a line between who is a public figure and who is a private figure. To me, wives and kids typically should be off limits. Zach Smith deciding to attack Tom Herman, he didn't attack him by anything other than going after his family. He tagged his wife. He said that Zach Smith was cheating and all these other things. I don't care in general. My standard, if you watch this show, my standard has been since I was 18 years old. I don't care about the private lives of public figures. I don't care who Donald Trump sleeps with. I didn't care who Bill Clinton slept with. I don't care who JFK slept with back in the day, or RFK, or MLK, or LBJ, or any of those people. I care whether or not you're good at your public job. So Tom Herman's private lifestyle, to me, is not in play here. It shouldn't be fair game. I think Zach Smith went well beyond the bounds of acceptable behavior. Now, Zach Smith's own life, as it pertains to his ability to be a head coach, he lost his job because of his misbehavior off the field. And so if you are going to get fired for your behavior off the field, to me, that makes your private life part of your public life, right? If you get fired because you are behaving inappropriately off the field, you have brought that into bearing. So there's a difference, even though Zach Smith might not see it, there's a difference between his private life, which he made public by committing crimes, versus Tom Herman's private life. Here's the other thing. When you make a public accusation like that, it's impossible to refute that public accusation in the minds of many people. And I think this is an important distinction that a lot of people are losing. We don't know what Tom Herman did. We know it's not criminal. We know that there's no way to prove that he did or did not do it. You are deciding to air dirty laundry, which is a messy situation. It is an utterly awful situation, and it's impossible to prove whether or not you did it. This was my big issue with the Kavanaugh hearings. If you dove into the Kavanaugh hearings and you examined them, my issue in general with the Kavanaugh hearings was it was impossible to prove whether you were guilty or innocent. And everybody else presumed that everything about it was true because it fit their political leanings. I just think that's wrong. So I think Zach Smith has gone beyond the pale in terms of his behavior. I think wives and kids, unless wives and kids make their behavior a part of the story, should be outside the bounds of attack. I follow the mob rule. Unless somebody's wife steps to me or somebody's kids are after me, I think, and they interject themselves into the public arena, I think in general that's not a story that should be considered to be valid. So I think that's tough. I think it's an easy standard to apply. If you want to come after me, come after me. If you want to come after me for anything that I've done in the public arena, I think that's fair game. I don't think private lives should be fair game. And look, I've said that for Bill Clinton. I said it for Donald Trump. Unlike a lot of people, my logic is consistent. I care about how you do your job. Whatever private life you have, I think you're entitled to still have it. And whatever marital relationships you have, I don't think Zach Smith is behaving in an appropriate fashion when he drags, goes public with all these accusations about Tom Herman. I just think it's ugly. I think it's messy, and I don't think there is a good way to address it, honestly. I think it's a total mess. All right, couple of games that I absolutely loved over the weekend. Where my Kentucky fans at? Where my Kentucky fans at? I told you guys beyond a shadow of a doubt. I told you that Tennessee was going to wax that Wildcat ass. And so many Kentucky fans came in here in my mentions and they talked trash and they tried to say that I was crazy for telling you what was 100% true. Tennessee and Jeremy Pruitt were going to spank that Wildcat ass because Kentucky wasn't very good. Kentucky wasn't very good, and they got all blown up by everybody else. And I told you, take Tennessee +6, take Tennessee +3.5, take Tennessee plus whatever number you could get, because Tennessee was going to win outright. And then what happened? Tennessee whipped that ass. Wasn't even close. Tennessee treated Kentucky like a JV team. Jeremy Pruitt brought out the defense and figured out how to make everything matter. And you know what they did in the process? They served notice that Jeremy Pruitt's defense is going to be real for years to come. I think Tennessee's going to get bowl eligible. I am told there are multiple 5 stars that have committed to Tennessee and will be announced in the near future. I am telling you right now, the Vols are on the upswing. Now, also, on top of that, all right, on top of that, how about my Tennessee Titans spanking Tom Brady's ass. You want to talk about a good weekend for the good guy, for the hero of this story, for Clay Travis, beating the crap out of the Patriots, the Titans doing it. One of the most enjoyable games I've been to in a long time. It's been 16 years since the Titans beat Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, and they didn't just beat them. They are destroying them. They are beating the crap out of them. It wasn't even close. It was a beatdown of epic proportions, wasn't even remotely close. Now the question for the Titans is, can they take the momentum from the Monday Night Football double-digit win over the Cowboys, and can they take the momentum that they got over the Patriots, and can they take that on the road against the Colts, who are playing really well? I think it's going to be a tight game regardless because of how well Andrew Luck is playing. But for everybody out there who's been hating Marcus Mariota, the guy in the last 3 weeks has been a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. As his hand has gotten healthy, he's been phenomenal. The question with Marcus Mariota from the get-go has been, can he stay healthy? Can he stay healthy? That is all that mattered, was can he stay healthy? And if the answer is yes, then there is no doubt at all that he is going to be able to be a top 10 quarterback. Again, health is the only question. In terms of performance, he is actually fantastic. I am telling you this right now. I loved everything about that Titans performance, and I would love if they could go on the road and beat the Colts. You know, Titans have never beaten Andrew Luck, which is an amazing stat. All right, I have to run over to the lot here in a moment, but I want to close with this. Game of Thrones is coming back in April. I cannot wait for Game of Thrones to be back. It is going to be incredible. I'd encourage you guys, I'm going to be a little bit out of normal hours doing Outkick shows this week. Encourage you to keep your notifications on. You never know when I'm going to hop out. I am going to have an incredible week of gambling, I hope. We already started. I got the over last night, and I got the Giants with the cover. It is going to be, I can't wait till April when Game of Thrones is coming back. I tweeted out their official announcement video. It's going to be outstanding. Yes, I will be on Lock It In. I'm in LA. That's why I'm out here. That's why the schedule's a little bit different. I'm doing everything differently with Lock It In this week. I'm on the lot, on studio. I'll be on Speak for Yourself with Whitlock on Thursday. I think I'm going to hop on Cowherd at a point as well. But that's why the schedule is a little bit different. I love all of you. My name is Clay Travis. This has been Outkick the Show. Enjoy it. I'll see you later on Lock It In on FS1, 4:30 Eastern, 3:30 Central, 2:30 Mountain, 1:30 Pacific. Kisses from me. I'm also still doing all my radio show obligations, so you'll still hear me in the mornings. This has been Outkick the Show. Love you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, why is the SEC so overrated? Oh, I got to kill a man on the way out. Boom. You're dead. This has been Outkick the Show. Love you guys.